So there are certain parts of my garden that I usually don't let you guys see because frankly, it's just too messy and embarrassing. And today I'm standing beside one of them. Welcome to my tomato cage graveyard. Hey folks, if we haven't met before, my name is Tara. I garden in the Bay Area, and over here on the channel, my job is to help you not just grow, but also to love the process of growing. And every year at the end of season, I end up with a bunch of things that look like this and maybe even this. Yeah, this is not going to help you love the process of growing because guess what? There is no easy way to store them. So what I do is I end up stashing them over here, one on top of the other. It's just plain dangerous if nothing else. I mean, it looks messy, but I get hurt on it. I pass by, I get scratched, and they keep falling over, and it just does not make the process of growing fun for me when I have to use tomato cages that look like that. Fortunately, there are some really cool, new, and very innovative solutions out there, like this FlexGrow tomato cage from Vego Garden that I am dying to set up to replace some of my traditional tomato cages in these planters. And not just that, you guys, we're going to be doing a giveaway today. Two really awesome Vego Garden products. So stay tuned till the end. But first, let's get these tomato cages set up so that I can show you not just what it does as a tomato cage, but all the other things that you can do with it. First, let me show you what I'm dealing with over here. This is a very large elevated bed from Vego Garden. It's 2.5 feet by 10 feet, and I'm growing an entire kitchen garden in it. I did a setup video, so you can go ahead and watch that. I will put a link to it, but I'm growing basically all the stuff that you typically grow in summer. I've got my tomatoes, I've got my peppers, I've got bean plants and cucumbers that are trellising at the back. I've got herbs, I've got marigolds, I've got some basil, I've got all kinds of good stuff. Ooh, I've even got some bitter melon back there. So I'm going to be replacing this tomato cage, which by the way, has only 2 of the circles, the welded circles left because one of them has fallen out. So I'm kind of just tying these pepper plants to the legs as they grow. I've got these cages as well. These are Texas tomato cages, which are actually pretty cool. I like them. They are foldable, and I actually want to use them for my green stalks. So I'm going to be moving these out of here. And then I've got yet another sorry looking tomato cage. Look how these things bend, and oh my gosh, the legs are so unstable. It's difficult to push them into the soil because the legs often bend. They're just really difficult to work with. And on top of that, they don't even do the job. I would never use something like this to hold up my 10-foot tall tomato plant because that's how tall it can grow by the end of the season. I've got a really long season that starts about now and goes all the way through the end of October because I live in California. So I've got to really invest in good tomato cages, and that's what I've got over here, at least as a starter. And I've got another bed right here where I'm growing my onions. Both these are rolling elevated beds, and I've got videos on both these. I set this one up about a year ago, and I've grown some amazing things in this, you guys. And the best part of this thing is it moves so easily. So I can push it aside or, go in the back here, do some stuff. My husband often comes and says, hey, you're putting your planters too close to the house. So I don't have to worry about that anymore because he can move it himself if he wants to. And even this really large bed can be easily moved. I mean, there's a lot of soil in these beds, you guys, but these wheels are some sturdy wheels. I mean, contrast that with this sorry looking planter here. I mean, I don't want to say bad things about this because this planter has served me well for over 4 years, but hey, I really run these things to the ground. I'm not willing to give up on it, but look at those puny wheels. I would not dare to try to move this thing because frankly, I've had the bottom of this fall out when I tried to move it, and with this amount of soil in it, it's just too heavy. So yep, the wheels are there, but they're there only for show. And these are the ones that I actually move to chase the sun or do whatever I want with them. I don't have to be fixed about my garden layout. I really love it. And guess what, you guys? This solid galvanized steel is going to last me forever. Anyway, enough chit chat about that. But the reason I wanted to call that out is because this is one of the items that I'm going to be giving away at the end of this video. This rolling 2x4 planter with this cute little shelf at the bottom is going to be prize number one, and then I'm going to be giving away tomato cages as well. So let's set up these tomato cages. Let's see how easy it is to do. Now these pack completely flat. There's 6 tomato cages here. And look at that. I just open it up and I've got a tomato cage already. And I can fold it back and store it away in my garage when I'm done with it. And look at that. Solid reinforced steel. And it's going to be able to hold up my tomato plants no problem. Up to 33 pounds. And there is not going to be any rusting issues either. And it opens up on the side, which is a unique feature of this. So all you need to do is you pull the 2 corners together, you slide that rod right in, and you've got a nice rock solid tomato cage. Now, I love that you can stack these one on top of the other if you're dealing with those indeterminate tomato plants that grow really, really tall. So all I'm doing is I'm connecting 2 cages together. They provide us with these little clips that you can use to join them up. And look at that, a nice tall tomato cage. Okay, so I want to show you a couple of configurations that you can use for this thing. So this is your basic tomato cage. By the way, it comes in 2 sizes. This is the taller one, and this is the shorter one right here. So if you've got like dwarf tomato plants or maybe a pepper plant that you want a shorter cage for, these, I think roughly 8-inch stakes at the bottom will go into the soil. So it will be that much shorter. But yeah, so all you need to do is, even if you've got a mature tomato plant, a pretty tall one, usually you'd have to put the cage from the top. You could damage the branches as you're going down, but this one opens up. So you put it around the plant like this, and then you thread this rod through, and you got your tomato cage assembled. Now, if your tomato plant grows even taller, then you've got this one over here. It's taller than me. And again, it will go down by about 8 inches or so because there are those legs at the bottom. But this is a pretty darn tall tomato cage. Let me show you a couple of other configurations. Okay, so you see these trellises that I've got for my cucumbers in the back? Well, guess what? I can use this. All I need to do is kind of fold it zigzag a little bit, or I can use it straight, either way. But maybe I want to do this. And I can connect 2 of them side by side, and I've got a nice trellis, and you can do all kinds of stuff. So the founder of Vego Garden was talking about how he came up with the name for it, and it stands for, veg stands for vegetable, but the ego part stands for the last part of the word Lego. So Vego, it's not Vego, it's Vego. So the idea is that just like Legos, you can connect these things together and make all kinds of cool stuff. And the modularity. So that's kind of what's cool about these tomato cages. It's like playing with Legos, you guys. So that's one configuration. Then you can also do the A-frame. So you can take one like this and another of the same height. Let me see if I can do this all one-handed in front of the camera. Okay, and then you kind of straighten them out like this, and then you lean them on each other, against each other. Gosh, this is going to be hard to do. There we go. Look at that. I got an A-frame. And then you can just zip tie the tops over here, and you can have your beans crawl up it, your cucumbers crawl up on top. So it's, yeah, just the world's your oyster. Get creative on how you want to use these tomato cages. But for me, I'm going to now put it on my elevated bed over here and replace some of the other tomato cages that I've got over there. I really need to go in the trash can, but you know what? I'm the kind of person that will use and find uses for things until they absolutely cannot be used anymore. So I'll find other uses for this stuff, but these are going to go in that bed and replace them. Thank goodness this tomato plant is really small, so I can actually lift this without damaging it. And fold these and put these away. Yeah, the other really nice thing about these tomato cages, you can fold them flat and put them away so you don't have that tomato graveyard situation which stabs you as you walk by it. So yeah, this is an Amish tomato that I'm going to be putting this on. This can grow to like 8 feet, 10 feet maybe even. Push those feet all the way in. Look how tall that is, you guys. Yep, this tomato plant is going to be really happy as it grows. Now let's replace some of the smaller ones as well. I'm going to be using the small size tomato cages for that. And all you need to do is open it up like this, put it around nicely, just like that. Push it down. This is a dwarf tomato, so it's not going to grow terribly tall. So I think this gauge should be just right for it. There we go. And then you've got the stick that you need to thread through, this one. This is a solid design, you guys. These cages are solid. They aren't bending under the weight of any tomato plant. All right, we are all set up. So what I have done is I've got this one tall cage for my Amish based tomato that goes all the way up there past my house. And then I've got these two. Bring it down here. There we go. So this one is going to be for my, I believe these are jalapeno peppers. Yes. And jalapenos are tall, lanky peppers, so they will appreciate the height. This one here is a dwarf tomato. It's not supposed to grow more than like 3 or 4 feet tall. But even if it does, they tend to be kind of squat, these dwarf tomato plants. So this shorter cage should be good enough. By the way, these two together can be doubled up and made into this tower for the tall Amish tomato cage. So that's kind of how that works. So I got three of these sets. And this is the third set right here. Also the same configuration with a tomato plant, dwarf tomato plant in the center. And I have got a Peruvian pepper, which also grows really tall. In fact, I've got one in my self-watering planter right here. This one you can see, I grew this last year. It grew and it grew and it grew past my house to the point that I actually had to lean it over so that it, during winter it was asleep. By the way, did you guys see this? This is a praying mantis egg, you guys. It hasn't yet opened. I don't know what's going on. I saw it kind of like in fall and I thought that in spring it would open up, but nothing's happened yet. It may be my imagination that it's getting a little bigger. My son says that they're all dead, but I would be sad if that's the case, but maybe that's what it is. But anyway, my point is that this Peruvian pepper grows super tall, and that is why I'm going to be using this structure for it, at least part of the way, and then maybe I can lean it over into that trellis. Who knows? I'll worry about that when that happens. But I'm also going to be trying to make this danja squash. Now, this is a squat kind of squash, but these also benefit from being trellised, even though their stems are kind of short. When you put the stems against something to hold on to, the leaves stand up a lot straighter and there's less pest issues. So I'm going to try and semi-trellis that as well. But overall, I am really loving how this thing has all come together, how nice it looks, and how sturdy these cages are. I was explaining to my son about the Vego thing and how this is actually Vego, not Vego, because of the Lego. And this is really Vego in action, or Lego in action, because you can connect these, you can do all these designs with it. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And one more thing I wanted to show you about the modularity of the products. So the wheels are optional if you buy them. So that is one of those modularity things. You can add the wheels later. You can also add a trellis later if you choose. I also chose to add this insect netting later on. So this is the way that you can sort of add things on. And if you see down here, I've also got an irrigation kit, actually 2 irrigation kits. I'm going to be using one for this planter and then one for this planter. So you can keep adding and building and growing your existing ecosystem. And that's why I feel that it's better to invest in one company, like Vego Garden, for example, if you're going with the galvanized bed constructs, because their products just are meant to work and fit together with each other and extend each other. So that's one thing to consider when you're out there buying galvanized raised beds, is what are the other products you might need to add on later. All right, let's talk about the giveaway. So Mother's Day is around the corner and I am thrilled to partner with Vego Garden to do a fabulous giveaway. So there's going to be 2 prizes. The first prize is going to be this 2x4 elevated movable garden bed. And it's going to come with wheels, and that is just I'd say it's probably one of my favorite Vego Garden products. I've got a lot of favorites, but this definitely is one of them because it has saved me so many arguments with my husband about the location, and you got to move it forward or you got to move it that way. In fact, I had the cedar craft planter that I was showing you earlier. I had it in this spot, and I decided to lift it with my son's help and move it to a different spot so I could put this one over here. So all I needed to do was drag this into place. So definitely a huge benefit having an elevated planter that's also movable. So that's the first prize. So the second prize is going to be a set of 4 tomato cages. So they're going to be a little bit smaller than the ones that I set up over here. These are the 14.5-inch cages. The ones that are in the prize are the 11.5-inch cages, but there's going to be 4 of them. And the rules to enter the giveaway are pretty straightforward. Follow my channel, subscribe to my channel, as well as subscribe to the Vego Garden channel. I'll put a link to it on the screen as well as in the description. And definitely like this video. And I also want to hear from you in the comments. I want to know what you are most excited to grow this summer. So those are the rules. The giveaway is going to run from May 3rd through May 10th, and I will announce the winner on May 11th, 2026. So good luck, and I will put a link to the video where I set up this elevated bed in the corner right here. I hope you enjoy it. And until next time, folks, good luck and live green and love your greens.